ginger hair, really short. He stutters. That guy doesn't become a pop star. It's so unlikely.
Well, well, well. What do we have here? Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Nigel. This is Shop4Frames. Thank you for joining us. So today we have a special treat for all you Ed Sheeran fans out there. We're going to be taking an in-depth look at why this guitar is in a frame, why this signature is down on the bottom of this guitar, and finally, is this guitar real or not? Stick around and we'll find out. So, if you haven't already, and you haven't gone over to the Disney Plus channel, you have to, especially if you're an Ed Sheeran fan, you have to go and head over to the Disney Plus channel and look at the Ed Sheeran, The Sum of It All. I just think it's a fantastic name for the actual 4-part documentary. Needless to say, my wife and I absolutely binge watched the whole thing. My wife was in tears most of the time, and I just think that when watching the video, at the end of the video, shall I say, my wife and I, we just kind of turned to each other and said, what a nice guy. He's just such a nice, natural guy. And there's a quote in the film, this isn't a spoiler by any means, but there's a quote in the film that says something along the lines of, his friend was saying that he doesn't know many rock stars, but this one hasn't turned into an arsehole yet. Which I thought was brilliant. So, you're probably wondering, why is this guitar in a frame? And what's the story behind this guitar? Going back to 2016, my wife and I had this idea of, well, our first favorite song, our song, was Thinking Out Loud. You know, the one that's been on the telly lately and in the courtrooms. Good for you, Ed. So my wife and I's favorite song of Ed's at the time was Thinking Out Loud, and that was a song that we sort of shared. And every time the song was on the radio, we would say something like Ed with an E. I don't know why we said that, but we always, whenever we heard Ed Sheeran on the radio, we said Ed with an E's on. And so we'd listen to Thinking Out Loud. Anyway, when we moved from South Africa to the UK, we always had this idea of going to a packed out Wembley Stadium with Ed Sheeran playing. And this became an absolute reality back in June of 2018. This was such an amazing evening at Wembley. As you can see here by these pictures, my wife and I were in a queue of 80,000 people. We had an absolute blast that evening. You know, the opening acts were people like Anna Marie, and of course we were thrilled that during the show that we had Stormzy appear, and at that moment the crowd went absolutely nuts. Now, before we go any further into the video, I have to tell you that that video footage that you've just watched was filmed on my old mobile phone, and as I joked in the previous video, and if you haven't seen that, I'll put a link in the top corner here as well as in the description below. So let's take a look at the framing process that we did to design this guitar. Firstly, what we did is we got this really nice black wooden grain frame that you can see here. So it's a really nice grainy frame. It does have a lot of depth to it as well, just because of the nature of the size of the guitar. Obviously, we've had to put it into what we call a box frame. Now, a box frame is basically, for lack of a better description, if you could imagine a shoebox, put something in it, and then on the lip of the box, that's exactly where this little part, what we call the rebate, goes onto the top of that, and that just gives it the depth. Now, as we do with our memorabilia, the last thing we want to do is have any signatures like this that tend to fade or, you know, actually disappear. I've also made a video about this in our Liverpool shirt that we framed from the 2005 Champions League final. I'll put a link at the top there and in the description as well. So finally, what we do with a piece like this is, and it is a large sheet of glass, and you may not be able to see it here in the video itself. However, what we've got is we've got a really nice here based in the shop. We've got a really nice piece here where you can see, if I show you the guitar and this piece over here, this is the glass we've got in there. So this is what we call our art glass or true view glass. You can also see the actual reflection of the light has a little bit of a green tint to it, where your plain glass, and you can see the camera actually, it's literally like a mirror. So when you're looking for big pieces, it is a little bit more expensive, but consider the art glass, or what we call true view glass, because that just says it all. Nice up close to the butterfly, and I'll literally go to the one side and you can see the camera. So art glass, art glass, art glass. We know it's expensive, but it definitely shows. This here we just have a large reflection of the camera and the rest of the shop, which is behind me, behind you guys at the moment watching this. But yeah, art glass, regular glass, there you go. Take your pick. And if you don't believe me, I've had a customer once before take a look at a piece of memorabilia that we've done for a customer of ours, and the customer asked me, so that looks lovely, but how much does something like that with glass cost? Ma'am, the glass is there, you just can't see it, which is exactly what we want to portray when we're framing special pieces like this. Right, so let me go into a little bit more of a story as to why this is in the shop. So when my wife and I went to the Pack Tower Wembley, and the idea was we were going to have these 3 photographs taken. So this is a photograph or a selfie of my wife and I, and Ed Sheeran that we took, and of course another picture of us at the Divide tour. So if you can see the little distance there, I'll put a little arrow just above his head. That's Ed Sheeran. And yeah, so this was at the Divide tour, and we had such an amazing time. So the idea was to get the tickets framed, as well as those photographs I've just highlighted to you there. Of course, what did I do? I lost the tickets. So to answer your question, or the pending question, shall I say, of whether this is actually Ed Sheeran's guitar, no, it's not. Now, I know that sounds like a bit of an anticlimax, but I want to just tell you something, that the reason why this is framed like this, together with the actual pictures and the signature, that isn't a signature. The way I made this as a piece of memorabilia, as you could do for yourselves and with any piece of framing, and that's what we love about what we do, is it being so bespoke and such a wide world of opportunities in what we can frame. But I literally bought this from a lady not far from us on Facebook Marketplace for about £10, and I got back. Here's a clip of me holding the actual guitar. This is before I went in for framing. You'll notice that that signature isn't there, and I'd actually written where we were. So that's my handwriting down in the bottom there, and I know that that's maybe not what you wanted to hear, but what it means to us is that's where we were on the evening. We fulfilled our dream of the seeing Ed Sheeran at a packed out Wembley, of which it was absolutely stunning. And of course, what happened, Murphy's Law, after I did the framing, the guitar, wrote where we were, got the pictures in the frame, the tickets showed up. So what we'll be doing now is putting the tickets in a nice laminate card and securing those on the back of the frame, and then we have a complete unit. But although this isn't displayed in our home at the moment, it is here in the shop. If you're local to us here in Marlow, as you come through the front door as we speak, it'll be on your right hand side. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you have seen some value in this. If you've got something that you wanted to frame yourselves, by all means pop in and we'll definitely talk you through the processes and how we can do this style of framing for you. We can also go through the different types of glass options. And yeah, again, if you liked the video, please make sure that you subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Until then, make sure you go check out that Disney Plus. It is amazing. Ed Sheeran, if you're watching this, You got any spare guitars laying around? Give us a shout. Cheers, guys. See you on the next one.